It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. So, for a lot of cats or a lot of older cats, this happens. Suddenly, the vet is telling you that all the cat's teeth have to be extracted. In fact, here at Mew Mew House, I have two cats that are completely toothless. I've had several cats that are completely toothless, and this is actually not that unusual for an older cat to have its teeth removed. But why is this? When is it medically necessary to have teeth removed? And how do cats do without their teeth? We're going to talk about that today on Cat Chat with Penny. That's me. I'm Penny. We're going to chat about cats. I do this as what did we decide? The founder and president of Mew Mew House, a retirement home and hospice for cats here in Williamson, New York. So I'm in Williamson. I'm mostly awake. It's actually warm outside today. It's kind of hot, even. How are you doing? And where are you? I'm curious to know where you're watching from. And I don't mean your living room or your bathtub. I mean, what part of the world do you live? I like to know how far I'm reaching because I'm curious. Now, just so you know, I'm apparently a little tired. So, yeah, this is going to be fun. All right, let's talk about this. The toothless grin. If you're a cat, or if you have a cat that has no teeth, you kind of feel bad. I mean, what do? They gum their food. They can't eat. They can't chew. They can't bite. It feels like an awful thing to do to remove a cat's teeth, but this is remarkably common, even with dogs as well. A lot of animals have to have their teeth removed. And, there's a variety of reasons for that. The most common reasons, the one that we think of is the one that we're familiar with in ourselves, is periodontal disease. Like you should brush your teeth, right? If you don't brush and floss, you're going to lose your teeth. Well, that's all fine and good, but I don't know about you. I'm not real keen on brushing my cat's teeth. Sorry. Um, it's enough work to brush my own, which I do. I do. They're still there. These are the originals. But that's not the only reason why your cat may have tooth problems. And that's not the only reason why cats often have to have full mouth extractions. So periodontal disease is one of the common one that we're aware of. And periodontal disease is basically a bacterial infection. And this is definitely because of needing to keep the teeth clean. Okay, great. Keep your teeth clean. Brush their teeth, yeah, whatever. And this is one of the arguments people use for, well, you should give your cat dry food because it's crunchy and it kind of scrapes the plaque or whatever off their teeth. Okay, well that's one thing. We're not going to talk about what's best for your cat's teeth. We're just going to say, yeah. I mean, if we can do it, brushing your cat's teeth is a fantastic thing you can do, but that's not always a guarantee that they're not going to have tooth problems. Another common problem, and this has been brought up recently because um, the cat with whom I share a name, Penny the cat, recently had all of her teeth removed, and it sounds horrible. Why would you do that? And she, at least in the reading I did, she had what's called stomatitis, which is also, I mean, I've known none of my cats have had it, but I know other rescues with older cats definitely had problems with stomatitis. And it's just a swelling and inflammation of the teeth, kind of looks like, or the teeth and gums. The teeth themselves don't swell. Anyway, but it's an inflammation of the gums around the teeth, and it doesn't necessarily have a bacterial origin. It could be an autoimmune disorder. We're not entirely sure. Okay. But when you have this swelling, whether it's periodontal disease due to not being clean or stomatitis, just, some random swelling, sometimes they happen together, but they don't have to. Then you wind up having problems with the teeth basically falling apart. Um, but what's important is when this is going on, their teeth are super painful. and you can tell that something's going wrong because they have horrible breath. They're drooling. Sometimes that they'll bleed. They're obviously in pain. All right. And like I said, even if you've been brushing your cat's teeth, that doesn't mean that they're not going to develop stomatitis. And what both periodontal disease and stomatitis can lead to is tooth resorption, which is basically the tooth coming apart, being resorbed by the body, so that the root gets essentially dissolved away, and then the teeth just fall out. So in the end, we've got these three related problems: periodontal disease, stomatitis, and tooth resorption, that aren't necessarily, there's not necessarily a causal relationship between one or the other, but it definitely, um, they're they're similar and they happen together a lot. And so when a cat is in terrible, terrible pain, we have to do something. All right. And, you can try things like give them antibiotics, give them anti inflammatories, some of them for stomatitis. If they think it might be an autoimmune thing, they'll get immunosuppressants. Yeah, people will do that. There's risks with that. But I just had a stink bug fall from my ceiling. If you saw that. Anyway, where was I? Anyway, the challenge is, though, when they're in such pain, what can you do? All right, it's not going to improve, or it isn't improving. The teeth are loose, they're falling out, they're causing a lot of pain. So oftentimes the kindest thing to do is just to remove the teeth. Well, that's what I was going to say. And some of these things, especially in terms of autoimmune challenges, um, stomatitis in particular is common in cats that have immune problems, like those with FIV, feline AIDS, and feline leukemia, FELV. Um, Stomatitis is more common in these animals because they already have a suppressed immune system. So all kinds of wacky things can happen. All right. So we have periodontal disease, we have stomatitis, we have tooth resorption. We're trying antibiotics, is not helping. The teeth are all loose. The cat is in pain, is not eating. Its quality of life is junk. In these cases, the kindest thing, the best thing to do is just to remove the teeth. And a lot of times they just pop right out. I mean, I've had cats that had tooth problems where the vet just sort of reached in and said, "Oh, this one's loose," and just came out and said, "Oh, well then." And it's hilariously that, the cat felt better afterwards. Um, but sometimes the best thing to do is to remove the teeth. And yes, it is a serious procedure. But when we think about it, is it not just as traumatic to a cat, potentially, to have to grab the cat, pill the cat every day, twice a day, give it medications, give it immunosuppressants, whatnot? Meh. It's a balancing act. But here's the good news. And this is where, you know, I remind people that what I'm talking about here is based on my experience with the cats of Mew Mew House. All right. I am not a cat behaviorist. I'm not a veterinarian. Um, I don't know all of the things, but what I do know is that I've had several cats that were toothless or were missing a lot of teeth. And sort of the conventional wisdom is that, oh, if your cat's toothless, by golly, you better give it soft food because it can't chew. Well, here's the thing about cats and carnivores in general. They actually really don't chew. I mean, their teeth are not designed for chewing per se. They're designed for slicing. Um, so whatever soft food might be nice, might be easy on the gums, but the reality is, and watching my cats that have been toothless, they love their kibble. They really love their kibble. And because cats in the wild, when they eat, they're not chewing their food in the way that we do, or grinding up into nice bits to swallow. They actually take whole chunks and just swallow it whole. So for them to, as long as they can get their mouth around the kibble, they will just swallow it. They'll find it to be wonderful. Plus, you consider that their gums probably are a lot more resilient than you think, and they can probably gum some food, some solid food pretty well. But my cats that are toothless really love their kibble. They really do. And so just to make sure that everything's okay, because I know they're not going to be chewing it, um, I always just make sure that the kibble I buy is small enough that they're not going to choke on it. And most cat kibble actually is small enough. It's not a problem ever. But it's just something to think about to make sure that whatever you're offering them is something that they can just swallow. Because they love the taste of it and they'll go crazy. The cats that I have that are toothless right now, I mean, you know that they're toothless when they meow at you and there's no teeth. All right. But other than that, they do just fine. Yeah, the question is, does the kibble irritate their gums when they don't have teeth? I've never it's an interesting question and I wish could answer that question directly. Um all I can say is that it doesn't stop them from eating the kibble. And they don't seem to have any pain from eating it. They don't stop eating it. Um, I mean, Zelda, who's actually a very demure cat, um, will practically shove other cats out of the way to get to the kibble. So I suspect that it's not painful to them. I think that they're just getting it into their mouth and sort of swishing it around and swallowing it and not actually chewing it. So, so yeah, the evidence I have is just, from observing, but it doesn't seem to really bother them. Who knows? I guess that would be an interesting study to conduct, to see if there's any irritation. But I don't know. But what I do know is that the most important, fundamentally important thing is that for a lot of cats that have tooth problems, the best thing you can do, and sometimes it's just absolutely medically necessary, is to go ahead and remove all those teeth that's giving them so much pain. Their lives improve. They feel a lot better. They're able to eat. They'll put on weight. Um, they'll start drinking more water, even because when your teeth are bad, even drinking water is painful when you drink it by, slurping it up with your tongue. So, for people who are in a situation where they have a pet, a mammalian pet, or actually probably any vertebrate pet that has teeth and is suggested by the vet that the teeth should be removed, I wouldn't I wouldn't be afraid to do that because animals are resilient and they will do just fine eating their food, whatever it may be. And yeah, I do feed mostly soft food, and I think that's just because cats really love it. Um, and it's a little bit better for cats with older cats. The kibble tends to be really really high in carbohydrates, and that's not a good thing so much for a older and less active animal. But that's a topic for another day. Whatever you're feeding your pets, if they have to have their teeth removed, yeah, especially initially, you'd want to give them something that's going to be not painful to eat, something softer. But then experiment. If they want to eat the kibble and you've been feeding kibble and they're doing well on the kibble, then let them eat the kibble. All right. And they'll do fine. That's the end result, is that yes, cats do fine without their teeth. Dogs do fine without their teeth. So if you like what I've had to say today, if you found it useful, helpful, please like and share. I'm broadcasting right now on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. If you like it, share, comment, and just to remind you that all of this work I do is from my experiences at Mew Mew House. And if you're interested in supporting the mission of Mew Mew House, providing a permanent home for senior and hospice cats, then go to mewmewhouse.org and learn more and maybe even make a donation. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you next week. Bye now.